last call. Anybody else? Okay.
You just want to speak?
I would just like, excuse me, is that, okay. I would just like to say,
Water.
Anyone have a little?
Here,
Thank you.
Hope there's some gin in it.
just some champagne. But you're driving my daughter home, so be careful.
Okay. I think that'll work itself. Hello?
It's not working.
Switch?
here we go. Okay. Yeah, I'd just like to say a few words about a really wonderful man, my father. Does everyone have a little time? I've got 100 years worth of material. But Dad, I'd like to thank you for all the things that you've taught me. You know, excuse me, you've probably all heard the old saying from Yogi Berra, you can observe a lot just by watching. In my father's case, I feel I've learned a lot by watching him. First, Dad, you taught me the importance of family. On Sunday mornings, we used to go to the Upper West Side of Manhattan to see your parents, whom I knew as Mama Cohn and Papa Cohn, Aunt Sarah, Uncle Horace. And some of these folks are in the pictures that are up on the wall. And it just, you know, it gave me a chance to really develop a strong bond with your side of the family. The fact that Mama Cohn had a yellow cake with this really nice chocolate icing was a big draw too. And then, you know, years later, after Mom passed away, you made sure that we stayed close with her side of the family. And I'm just so thrilled that my cousins are here from my mother's side, Marilyn, Macy, Ellen, Barry. And later on, we developed really wonderful relationships with Bunny's family as well, with Bunny's children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. And Paula and Jay, I'm so happy that you're joining us today too. Gilda, I really can't say enough good things about Gilda. You've just been so amazing. You know, since meeting you when my father was only 90, he formed a whole brand new life together with you and with your family, and it's just been wonderful. I would just like, Gilda, for you and the entire Mishpacha, Press, Lieberman, Rottenberg, just to all know how much we enjoy being a part of your family. And then, Dad, more specifically, I just wanted to let people know how much I appreciate your being involved with all aspects of my life. When I was a kid, you know, you took me to school, you helped me with my homework, but what really meant a lot to me was that you imbued me with your love of sports. And you taught me to swim, you taught me how to ride a bicycle, you taught me to play tennis. And if anyone didn't see, there's my father with 6 tennis rackets right on that wall. You taught me to play baseball. We used to stay up late watching games together. We still do. And sometimes when I call you, I know that Gilda has gone off to sleep, but you're still up watching the game. And I remember as a kid how sometimes it was time for me to go to sleep, and I would go off to bed reluctantly. The Mets were still playing. And I'd wake up in the morning, and you had written a little summary of the game for me. And it was taped to the headboard. And I'll never forget it. I still can see it there, waking up one morning, Mets win, Jim Hickman hits 3 home runs. You know, so I always knew what was going on. Same thing when it came time for my bar mitzvah. You could have sent me off to a rabbi so I could learn the trup for the Torah and the Haftorah. But you decided it would be better to teach me yourself. And you did a great job, probably better than any rabbi would have done. You also encouraged my independence. You know, you and Mom let me go off to Israel for the last half of my senior year of high school. And a lot of people in the family were nervous. It was just a few years after the Yom Kippur War, and they were encouraging you and Mom not to let me go. But you said, no, let him go, it's important, and I want to thank you for that wonderful opportunity. When it came time for college, you and Mom drove me around to the various campuses, and eventually you moved me into the dorm. And I especially remember the end of freshman year. I don't know if any of you don't know this, I'm not the most organized person.
Really?
And my father is completely the opposite in that sense. Everything's organized and planned and right there, you know. So my father comes to pick me up the end of freshman year. He gets to the dorm, the place is a mess, I haven't packed, and you didn't get upset. You just kind of relaxed, you went with it. I packed up, we got in the car. We first had to drive all around campus because I had an overdue term paper that I had to drop off somewhere before we left Ithaca. And it was just fine. You were just, you know, so cool with it. But maybe the most important thing you ever taught me was to treat everyone with kindness. As a kid, when I would visit you at your office, I used to watch the way you interacted with everyone around you. Your employees, your patients, the service people in the building, the custodian, the elevator man. You know, no matter what someone's station in life, what walk of life they came from, you treated everyone with kindness, with respect for their human dignity. That's my father. Over the years, there have been some hard knocks, but that doesn't stop you. You greet every day with an upbeat, positive attitude and good humor. People who meet you find you to be warm, caring, and a joy to be with. Dad, I wish you everything good for a terrific birthday and many wonderful years ahead. I love you. Mazel tov. And now it's the man of the hour.
How much can I say now after all that's been said? I'll repeat what's been said before, and that is, I made it. I was known as a centenarian. To me, that sounds like a follower of some religious cult. I may be a centenarian, but I'm still Jewish. In thinking over what I might say, I thought I would inject a few things that involve age and a few other things. So first of all, let me mention some statistics, if anybody's interested. The Census Bureau in the year 2000 told us that there were slightly more than 50,000 centenarians in the country. When you consider that there are 308 million in the country, that's a couple. In the year 2010, there are now a little over 70,000 centenarians. So people are getting older, and as they get older and older, there'll be less of a fuss made over people like myself and centenarians. One other thing is about old age is that you can get away with a lot of stuff. I forget names, I forget faces, I forget numbers and so forth. But people say to each other, they say, well, what do you expect? You know how old that guy is? Anyway, I was reading the newspaper a couple of weeks ago, and there was a story about a woman who was 105, and she was interviewed, and they asked her, what's the secret of your longevity? And believe it or not, she said, I eat bacon every day. Well,
I guess you wasn't your
I refute that. People ask me the same thing, and at first I don't know exactly what to say. I think it over, but I suddenly came up with something that I think may have a certain amount of significance, and that is the expression, you gotta roll with the punches. Meaning that there's a lot of stress in life, and you just have to avoid it because it can be very deleterious and very harmful to your system if you're going to go through life with a great deal of stress. I could say that Jay said so much about me that the both of us, at one point in our lives, had perhaps a little more stress than the average family. But we stuck together and we managed to overcome it, and here we are. Well, talking about Jay, I have one story to tell that I think would be a very, very important and significant part of my life. Jay and I were sitting watching television. I was smoking a cigarette, and Jay was about 6 years old at the time. I don't know if he remembers it, but I'm quite certain that it did happen. When a man from the public service, the U.S. Public Health Service, came on television, we were watching the television, and he started to talk about tobacco, all of its evils, and of course we all know the evils of tobacco, the lung disease, everything that goes with it, and then he said it could actually shorten your life, perhaps. Well, there was a little moment of silence, and then Jay looked up at me and he said, "Daddy, did you hear what this man said?" So I nodded in the affirmative, and that was it. A moment later, he came over, he walked over to where I was sitting. There was a lighted cigarette in the ashtray. He grabbed it and he put it out completely. I was sort of taken aback, and I said to myself after that hereafter I will never smoke in Jay's presence. However, in a very short time after that, I quit altogether. And that was close to 50 years ago, and it's a possibility. That's one of the reasons why I'm here. Unfortunately, I lost 2 brothers to lung disease, and that left an awful imprint. And this young man's father was one of them. So what else can I tell you? Oh, I wanted to change the subject for a moment and mention something about profession, the practice of dentistry. I felt for quite some time that I had a certain degree of power practicing my profession. I remembered I was able to tell politicians, doctors, lawyers, even a few prominent rabbis. I was able to tell all of them when to open their mouths and when to shut their mouths. Anyway, to get to the most significant part of any remarks that I have to make, I must include 3 people that have been mentioned before and who spoke before. They are the most important people in my life today. And of course, that's Gilda, that's Linda, and that's Jay. It really is a marvel existence to know to have them. I would like to speak of Gilda first, but Gilda doesn't like the spotlight. She doesn't want me to say too much, but I'm going to sneak in a word or two anyway and say that she's loyal. She's loyal and she's a liberal.
My family appreciates that.
Appreciate that. Anyway, yeah. So in any event, Now, I must say a little bit further that my life, I can't even imagine a picture what my life would have been had I not met Gilda 10 years ago. Can any of you think of eating tabachnik soup and blintzes for a couple of years? Anyway, it's been a wonderful life, and to say that the last 10 years, from 90 to 100, have been wonderful, too many seniors cannot say such a thing, unfortunately. So, once more, I can say my appreciation for Gilda, and, well, there's not many people like her at all, in my estimation. I would say that it was the good life, as they say in Yiddish, it was the joie vivre. The joie vivre is, of course, the joie vivre is the good life. And that's something that I definitely experienced. Then again, there's Linda. Linda turned out to be such a remarkable person in my estimation. And she has a very, very important job as the executive director of the Jewish service for the underdeveloped people. Is that how it goes? Anyway, she has this important job. It constantly keeps her busy. And how she finds time to help her mother and to help me is unbelievable. She's always there 24 hours a day. Anytime we need Linda, she's there in 25 or 30 minutes, and that's it. So, many thanks to you, Linda. And of course, Jay already mentioned that she and Mark made available their lovely home here. And this is not the first time either. Of course, that leaves one other person, and this guy who just spoke a few minutes ago, Jay. Jay never seems to know what more he could do for his father. He constantly sends me gadgets. This gadget will help you see better. This gadget will help you hear better. This will help you do this. I tell you, I have a box of stuff. But when it comes to giving you a little gift or a little recognition, it's not on a birthday or Father's Day, a shirt or a tie. To Jay, it has to be something that has real value and something that you really would enjoy. And just to give you an example, on a birthday or on a Father's Day, he gave us a detailed trip throughout the Metropolitan Opera House. That was really fascinating. You go there and we go, it's not just the Opera House, it's the behind the scenes, everything. We spent a couple of hours there and it was a wonderful experience. That's Jay's kind of a birthday. I'm trying to think of something else, but I think you've heard plenty. There's one more thing that I will mention before I close, and that is, you don't have to win a Nobel Prize to have people make a fuss over you. The only thing you have to do is absolutely nothing. Just stick around. Stick around. And